Hey folks, MisterJustin here with Secret Weapon Miniatures and another Workbench Wednesday. I'm very excited this week. I'm going to be talking about the bases for our upcoming Kickstarter. Of course, before I do that, I want to thank you for tuning in this week to join me again. I really appreciate the fact that you take time out of your day to, well, come and see what I've got on the table. Of course, this is your first time joining me. Please remember to like, subscribe, click the bells and whistles, all the things you need to do in order to make sure you don't miss anything from Secret Weapon Miniatures. And yeah, as always, remember that your questions drive the show, whether you submit them in advance or tune in to see it live. If you've got something you want to see demonstrated, I'm happy to help. But today, I won't be painting at all. I'm just, no painting, no painting. Today, I'm going to talk about my bases. Bring the camera down a bit for you. Doop-de-doop. Keyboard off the desk because I don't need it anymore. And away we go. Well, I can't use my cup of tea to hold the cord because then I can't have my cup of tea. So let's do this. Good cord. Actually, that's not true. First, I'm going to get back to the previews. Last week, I had talked about the fact that I would be working with Jess Rich to take some plastic squeaky hey dolls and repaint them in various themes. And I'm happy to say that one of them has been started. This will become the Rick of Rick and Morty Hey. So he's got his lab coat and his shirt on. Need to repaint the skin on the face and the eyes and all that. But yeah, this will wind up Rick just as the first test piece. And the war buggy that I'd started for Gaslands is ready. Extensive use of the secret weapon brass etch detailing, of course, including the roll cage, part of a window cover there, the front plow. And it's on autofocus. We've got to fix that, don't we? Desk cab properties. Refocus where I want. There we go. So this was fun. I'm glad I got to finish that one. The other buggy is nearly finished. Again, lots of the secret weapon brass going on here. So I'll get those done, and away we go. And Charles, hey, thanks for tuning in. Really nice to see you here. Thank you very much. And Jess, of course, hi. Thanks for tuning in. All right, so let's talk about these bases. Oh my gosh. Sample bags. Oh, sample bags. Oh, more sample bags. All right. I've got samples coming out of every old spot at this point. So I'm just going to take the first bag that I come across, which happens to be our mosaic set, and admire. Yeah, so I will need to get the focus to change again. Actually, looks like that's going to be good. So in this case, in fact, let me back up one step here and do a direct comparison between painted and unpainted bases. So this is a machine painting process, and what we have, I can even, they might be from different sections of the design. Nope, this is even the same shoot. So in this case, on the white one, let me go ahead and make a quick ISO wash for that. My isopropyl wasn't in the room. Let me go ahead and make a quick water wash for that. Well, no, I can't do that. I know I have more isopropyl in here. I always do. And look, a handy pipette for getting it out of the container. Couple drops. to water. Ink. Let's go with sepia. Should be nice and visible for the camera. Bloop. Oh, too much water. That's fine. I'll wick some of it away here in a sec. There we go. That should give us some visibility here. So, in this case, you can see the texture. It's still wet, obviously, my wash, because we're not going to spend a lot of time watching paint dry today. But you can actually see the texture on the base. Next to it, we have the painted piece. You get all that beautiful color. And this was created from a composite of photographs of actual lava, which means we're not guessing at the color or the texture. It's an actual lava flow in this case. We're pretty lucky to be able to do that, and I am dead chuffed, absolutely dead chuffed at the results. Let's see if I can still improve this a bit more. Go. But let's get back to mosaic then. So in this case, you can hear the raised ridges here. So you could go in and repaint this. It would be just as much of a nightmare as it sounds, having to repaint each one of these little stars and tags and whatnot. But you could. You absolutely could. Perhaps you like the base, but you're not super excited about the colors. And that is another thing. These are hips, styrene bases. Boom. What you would expect to find with a new model kit. So we're not doing this on top of resin or something crazy. Yeah, it's just a hip space. Yeah, so we've got the mosaic. And what we do is we're laying out a large design, and then we lay over the masks and templates and jigs and whatnot to get everything to align the way it's supposed to for each set. And that design prints over the sets. That means that for 32mm bases, we're looking at, I believe, 40 unique designs in that run. The sets of 32s, 25s, whatnot will include a random selection of bases. But that also means that for things like the 60mm, we're going to have a ton of designs. It's still going to be random when you get them, but yeah, lots of designs to choose from. Let's see. Mosaic. I'm finalizing pricing right now, but I am looking to keep these close to the resin price so that they these don't cost more, or at least much more than the unpainted resin. This is our Blackstone set. Again, raised detail. We're going to adjust the color on this run again. Well, the artist I'm working with is good at printer calibration. In this case, it's such a different kind of printer that it has its own moods, and it turns out the inks are not always cooperative. So. And Charles Dodge, the target audience is our existing audience. I'm just as happy to sell people the unpainted resins as we are these. I know folks have already asked me, well, what happens to your resin business in that case? Well, these outsell the resin enough that my resin business slows down. Nobody will be sad about that at Secret Weapon. We still have plenty of resin to cast. Other than bases, we do contract casting now as well. So I'm not worried about losing any of the resin business if these start out outpacing the other. But yeah, Blackstone. Yeah, and see, we need to adjust the design a bit more because we still get some 32s with just color on them, and I'm not a big fan of that. So we're still fiddling with the designs, working all through all the details. Right now, the plan is also to have stretch goals for round lip bases, although in that case, we will actually have to have a slightly higher target for those because we'll be funding the tools, not just the order, because in this case, the company we're using only has a few sizes of the round lip base, and they do those only as slatas, which does us no good. So we'd have the tool made and then continue to shoot the bases here in the United States at the same company. So this is the Shoreline set. Now this set actually doesn't have the gloss. We have a gloss that's going to go over the water portions, so there is actually design work that puts gloss just on the water. Unfortunately, the gloss that the printer got, it was milky white and not clear, so we do it in the previews with just the color. So the ocean spray here will have the gloss on it as well. Glossy, glossy, glossy. It's gonna be great. It is great. I love these. These are actually one of my absolute favorites. Who's next? Town Square. Town Square is another example of one where I'm going to tweak the design a bit because while I'm very happy with the color and texture results, the urban elements are more lacking than I would like. So we're going to add some more urban elements to the design because it's easy to miss the fact this is Town Square and not Flagstone. But that's why we have the metal grating there. And see, oh, there it is. And yeah, that's one little part of a sewer grate. So this is the Town Square set, and like I said, we're still tweaking this design as well. But yeah, this colored, textured, depth. I've applied pigments over them already, no problem there. Might actually be one of these. Nope. Well, it means it's floating around here on my desk somewhere. And I've done this, I've applied both the Secret Weapon pigment fixative to this, which is solvent-based, of course. It's an enamel. And I've put isopropyl on top of this. I can glue a model to one today if anybody needs to see it. But I've had no problem drilling, gluing, pinning, you name it. The bases are, yeah, totally going to survive. The impetus, Charles, for developing these is one of the things I still see when I go to conventions. Not a lot of painted bases. Certainly I see a number of armies that have secret weapon bases, generally painted up. But it still seems to be a thing that people are content to put minimal effort into. And if that's going to be the case, if there are players out there who want to have nice bases but don't want to put in the effort, hey, we've got them. Additionally, one of the things that I've been excited about for a long time was the idea that we could do an artist series. So right now, for instance, I already have commitment from Ben Comets. I've reached out to a lot of other artists. He's the first to confirm. But that means that we'll have a Ben Comets base series. We can, getting the artists we want involved. We can have a Jess Rich line of bases, Roman line of bases. Rafa may even be able to kick one out because it's just something he can do at his computer. All sorts of bases from all sorts of artists, and I love that idea that we can get some of these folks involved and see what they would create, and then be able to offer that to their community. I think that'd be a lot of fun. Yeah. So Town Square. And especially if, we can keep these at something in the price range of unpainted resin, well, hopefully that barrier to entry for folks is going to disappear. My goal's always been to give people better armies from the ground up, literally. I mean, there's a point with doing the tablescapes tiles and the dungeons, now the bases. It's always been part of that plan. All right, gosh, 4 left. This, this one, oh my God, it so highlights the quality of the product here. I absolutely love this because one of the things you'll hopefully be able to see here is that the white lines are raised above the circuitry lines, which do have texture. Those little guys are textured, but all of that white is on top of them. This has the texture, the little gaps in there. Our metal area. All of this. I mean, this is such an excellent product highlight. Unfortunately, I don't have the Hive set, samples of the Hive set with me today. I'll have those for the campaign, which will launch actually as soon as I get back from a family holiday in Lake Tahoe. Yeah, but just a couple weeks now. Top of August, we'll be launching the campaign. It's going to be awesome. But yeah, all of this, the texture, the color, the incredible raised depth, or the incredible depth of texture we're able to get. And they're very different textures here. That's so great. Like I said, dead chuff. This could not have turned out better. It's so exciting. How about some urban streets? Now this one, again, we talked about the color shift. Obviously the gray won't be purple in the final product. But again, we have raised rocks. All of this gravel is raised. So even if you just decided it's not quite enough color for you and you wanted to come in and dry brush this, go for it. There's texture there to dry brush. Same with the grape. Sidewalk, the chunk of sidewalk, a little pit there. Now one thing an astute observer may catch is that this is the design from the tablescapes tiles. These are an exact match to those tiles, only they're painted. love the little bits of raised gravel sidewalk. Ah, it's gonna be great. I've got 2 left for you. This is Silent Halls. This matches the existing base set exactly as well. So that if you already have some of our Silent Halls bases and you wanted to add some of these, hey, no problem. Of course you can do that. But yeah, again, you can see the raised detail. And we'll follow this up with Imperial Halls, Ruined Temple, so that all 3 of those base sets are compatible by having the same, line system to them. Or more like. Not exactly, but you get the idea. So yeah, I just can't. I get too excited playing with these at this point. Now this one, this is actually Shattered Ritual. Matches the existing Shattered Ritual designs, but in this case it's a good example of scale issue. Redoing this one because, yeah, the big old skull there. It's a little out of scale with the existing Shattered Ritual bases. Just a little bit. Still neat, but the scale was quite off. So the artist is revising for me now. I think we've got one of the funkier ones. Big skull. These. Of course, in this set, we can come back to the texture, because this set, I actually have examples of some of the texture that goes on first. Now, this is a single pass, whereas some like the tech one that I was showing you earlier, that's 4 texture passes. Did it. Around where one of the skulls would be. Pop that bad boy out. Steal a little bit of wash from this thing. Still not dry. So now you can see that little divot around where the skull would go. And this is one of the first ones that we ran. We've picked up a lot of tricks since then. Yeah, I have another one of those llamas. Good. And we will keep testing through the Kickstarter. And of course, any improvements we make post Kickstarters, we start into, proper production. It's just going to get better. It's just going to get better. Very excited about this. Yeah, it will launch. Let's see if I can actually pull up a date at this point. Having a firm date is always good. looks like August 6th. Maybe the 7th. I might launch it Wednesday, during Workbench Wednesday. That'd be crazy. But, yeah, Tablescapes, HD, table-ready bases. August 6th, 7th, something like that. It's going to be great. Yeah, and today that's actually all I have. I need to get back to work on the Kickstarter. I need to get back to work on the projects. Yeah, managed to solicit the July releases, but forgot to release them to the public. So I need to get that done, go to the bank, all the little things I've been neglecting since summer holiday very much takes up a chunk of my time. Wife and kid both home. It's wonderful, but summer is a tricky time to get stuff done. So I get to play catch up today again. But yeah, I hope you will join us for the Kickstarter campaign in just a couple of weeks. Very excited. It's going to be great. Yeah, I can't even start. Whew. All right. Happy hobbying in the meantime. And as always, please get your questions in that you'd like to see covered on the next episode of Workbench Wednesday. And I will make sure you get a video and a call out. And yeah, show you whatever technique you're looking for. Thanks again. Take care. Have fun.